Assalamu alaikum, welcome. When the bees produced honey and storage on the combs inside the hive, it is a perfect product. When the beekeepers is starting to harvest this honey, transport the frames to the processing room, if they do not respect some rules, some important standards for quality, it's starting to lose quality. And today we will share with you informations about the honey quality. Jawdat al-Asel. Come with us, please. Honey quality is a very important issue in the beekeeping sector. Why? Because all tasks, all effort, all investment that you give to implanting the activity, you can lose if you do not have any care when you harvest honey, when you transport this honey for the establishment, the honey establishment, and not care with its quality. There are a lot of laws in this country for food factories, but for honey we have a list with 12, the most important, that are the GSO 21st from 1984 about the hygienic regulations for food plants and their personnel. And the second, GSO 1694 from 2005 about general principles of food hygienic system of HACCP. HACCP is a hazard analysis and critical control points. We have in our establishment implanted a management for standard operational procedures for honey and starting all operations in the field until we have the final product here inside the establishment. We have our manual that will follow the rules, and we have in our manual the hazards analysis and CP determination of the plan. Where are the main problems that we can have with this honey since we started the harvest, for transporting and for processing. And we have here all standard operations, procedures that we need to follow and we create for bring the quality for the operations since the harvest until to package the honey. And of course, we have all documentation and record keeping procedures that we need to prove year by year for the external audit for we received this certification. And our team and our establishment has the HACCP certification. That is a certificate that proves that all operations inside the establishment are follow safety standards. For the customer, this is very, very important. About hygienic regulations for food establishments, we need first to have the establishment. We need to build the establishment in a place that we do not have contamination source. For example, an industrial area, because we will handle food and we can't have external source of contamination. In our establishment, we need to have water with a very good quality. We need to monitor the water twice a year in physical, chemical, and microbiological parameters. Another thing is that the floor that I will build my establishment have a good resistance, because we will use to handling heavy drums until 300 kg of each time. Then we need to have a resistance floor and washable floor. Another thing is about the lights. I need artificial and natural lights in sufficient volume for having a good vision inside that the place that I am processing the honey for package the honey, and mainly the ventilation. We need a system of ventilation, as you can see, that remove the air, and in environment we need a AC as well. Why AC? Because AC remove the moisture of the room, and the honey collect very easy the humidity of the air. After the honey is packaged or inside the drums, the big drums or the small jars, and correctly closed, we do not need the AC. But when you use it, the place that the honey will be open inside the room, we need mandatory AC inside. We have as well walls with washable paint, because we need sometimes to wash the walls with water, drinking water and hot water. If you can check all materials, all equipments that has in contact with the honey, we use it only in stainless steel 304. This is a specific stainless steel for food factories, except the drums. These are the drums that we use it for storage the honey before we put in the jars, and we harvest very fast and storage the honey inside these big drums that has the capacity of 300 kg. We have a paint of epox that is for food grade. We need to use it, this drum from steel, but with revestment of epox with food grade. We have our uncapper from the frames, all details, or a toxic plastic or epox for food grade or stainless steel. The pipes that we use in the honey pump on the package machine It's a crystal pipe. This is the same thing with a food grade. Our spinners, our honey extractor, all material that has internally contact with the honey are built in stainless steel. Our honey pump is the same thing. Our big honey extractor, the same thing. The filter, the pre-filter that receives the honey from the spinner and transfer through the honey pump for the drones is built in stainless steel. This is very important, and the height of the ceiling, it's very important. We need to have a good distance for promote a good ventilation. Mainly in our country that is very hot, and we need the correct height from the top that we have a comfortable temperature for handling the honey inside. For having a good final product with good quality, we need to follow some standards and some rules that we know as good practices. We have good practices in the field and good practices inside the establishment. Inside the establishment, previously we need to clean and wash the honey establishment and the equipment as well. But we need to wash the establishment and have a time for this establishment be dried, as well the equipment. And the hygienic proceeds from the people that has contact directly with the honey. But how can we measure these standard operation proceeds if we have success or no? You can see here in the drones that we have honey storage inside, samples of the same honey that belongs to each drone on the top. When you finish the season and the honey is stored inside the drone, we remove samples, as you are seeing now, for sending to the laboratory for check specific parameters that we need to have. The customer will receive the honey only if this honey will have the minimum conditions to be a honey for be consumed by the human being. We have here only in this last season, for the summer season, we send to the laboratory 22 different samples from different locations that we produce the honey. And each sample travel to the laboratory with an order submission for which kind of analysis we need to do. This is the analysis of honey is a parameter that was created for check exactly the efficiency, the quality of the proceeds that you have since the harvest until package this honey. For example, this is the result of analysis of honey. We have here the analysis of sugar spectrum showing mainly the two both sugars from inside the honey. We have know exactly the numbers. If you can see, we have 38.5 grams of fructose per 100 grams of honey, and glucose around 30 grams per 100 grams. And sucrose, we have only 0.5 grams per 100 grams. This shows to us that is a honey with a good balance. The bees got to change the sucrose into mainly sugars that we have in the honey, that is fructose and glucose. This honey is inside a good parameters that we need to prove that what we produced is okay and inside the standards. The second parameter that we need to check is HMF. HMF is a substance that happens when you use some treatment using heat on the honey. If you use some heat, we will increase this number. And we have the maximum level for the standard law around 40 milligrams of HMF per kg, and our honey has only 4.1, is inside the legal parameters. The moisture content, this is very special and important parameter because we can harvest honeys only with the maximum of 20% of water inside the honey. If we harvest with more moisture, we will have a problem of fermentation of the honey. And here we have a very low level of moisture inside the honey, less than 15% of water. Diastase, this is the level of live activity inside the honey. This is an enzyme, a live enzyme that is present naturally in the honey. When we have less activity of this enzyme, we will have a low quality of honey. And the last, that is very important, we need to see exactly the honey has inside the liquid pollen grains, and we can check which species of flowers of trees the bees visit during the process of the harvest. And here, when we have the main pollen more than 45%, we can say that this honey belongs to this species or that species. And here is showing that 47% of this honey has pollen from acacia. This is a sample from Diba, from summer season, Acacia tortilis. Then we can write on the label that this honey is from acacia, from summer tree. This is very important for the customer knows exactly and with sure that the honey that they are eating belongs to this species of flower or a mix of flowers. And in our establishment, all honeys go outside for the market only when we did this kind of analysis. This is quality. This is the last step for control the honey quality. That's why in 2021 we sent 2 samples of honey, one from wildflower and the second from cedar, for the international contest of honey quality in Europe, London Awards 2021, and we received for wildflower a silver medal, and for the cedar sample we received the gold medal. This year, 2022, we sent 4 samples, 1 cedar and 3 samples of summer. We received for the 3 samples from summer that we harvested last year, 2021, 3 gold medals. And for the cedar, we received the most important award, the platinum medal.
One of the most important things when we are coming to the food processing or food processing unit, there are some details we should follow perfectly. The first important thing is the people who is working inside the food processing units, they should have occupational health card and they should do a health analysis from the hospital or ministry, and they should have the details to make sure they don't have any diseases, virus kind of diseases which will transmitted through the food to the other people. And the second thing, when the guys or when the people are coming to work in the food processing units in the morning, they should take their personal hygiene activities, including the taking shower, and they should remove their hair, the face hairs, or they should cover all the face, and they should trim properly the fingernails, and this kind of things are very, very important. And when they are coming inside to the food processing unit, just before entering, should do the hand washing and sanitization of the hands and everything. After, they should use the food processing uniforms, aprons and everything. And we should use the food grade gloves. Normally in industry we are using polyvinyl gloves, which is good for the food processing units, and should use the boots, special boots for using inside. And before wearing all these things, we need to make sure we are not using any personal wristwatch or ornaments or any jewels, any rings, and the people should not carry any pen, pencil or any this kind of things inside the food processing units, because there is a chance this will contaminate or go inside the food. And the other thing is, the most important thing is, inside the food processing units, the people who is working, they should not use any tobacco, they should not chew any tobacco, they should not smoke inside, they should not eat inside or drink inside. Another most important thing is, we need to clean the food processing unit very detailed, especially when we are following the organic standards and HACCP. We should not use any chemical detergents or any chemicals inside for any kind of cleaning, but we are using especially the hot water in different degrees for cleaning purposes.
This is all for today. I hope that you enjoy and see you soon.